Hey folks, welcome back to We Talk Photo. I'm one of your hosts, John Peterson, and with me is Mr. Jack Graham. Morning, Jack.
Good morning, Mr. Peterson.
I got up a
Cold
little
day,
extra early this morning for this.
cold day in Oregon. Oregon, in Tennessee. You're in Oregon.
Yeah.
I ought to realize that after all these years. It was this morning. It was 34 degrees this
Wow.
morning here in
It's winter is coming, that's for
Tennessee,
sure.
and
Well,
it's
it's
11
good.
o'clock now, and it's 60. So life is good.
I gotta say, fall is my favorite time of the year, without a doubt. Spring is
The
close, but
picture in back of me I made the other day in the Smokies with my new iPhone 17 48 megapixel camera. And I have to tell you, I own that Sony RX 100 Mark 7
yeah.
after using the iPhone camera a couple of days, and I haven't even practiced on it. It's could do a lot more than I know. I'm thinking of getting rid of the Sony. This new camera is awesome.
It's so
It
good,
is.
but at one point, you got to think that the iPhone images, they're largely software driven. They're awesome, right? So they're software
Right,
driven instead of
right.
optically driven through the sensor. But yeah, what they can do is incredible.
And you could shoot a raw file
Yeah,
quite quite good, easy. So
yeah. I've taken a few raw files out of the 16 and processed them up and been quite happy with them.
between the iPhone 17 Pro Max Plus, whatever, and AI and everything else, we're getting old, John.
We were talking right before the program. I mean, there's all these, with AI and all the software driven photography and all that stuff that nothing can replace the experience.
That's a good introduction for this podcast.
Yeah, nothing can replace the experience.
Talk
That'll be
about an
our title.
experience. Hmm?
Yeah. So we just got back a couple of weeks ago from another one of our wonderful photography workshops up in Alaska, photographing the grizzly bears. And that's kind of what we wanted to talk about. Our goal was to do this podcast on location with a few of the folks in the group, but we were busy the entire workshop and just didn't have time for it. So it's you and I here.
Yeah, it was crazy. But man, I'll tell you what, we did an extra day this year versus what we did the last couple of years. But I have to tell you, the days went faster this year than any other trip.
They did, they did. It's such an incredible experience. But hey, before we get into Alaska, you got a new. I know we don't normally talk about gear, but you got a wonderful little gadget that some folks might be interested in hearing about.
Yeah, so a couple of weeks ago, John sends me this text or an email. Says you got to see this thing. This looks really cool. And I said, funny that you sent me this because I literally just ordered it like the night before. It's made by a company called Llano, I guess. There's some YouTube videos on this. I did look, and what it is, it's a battery charger. As you can see, it's right in my hand. Now, there's two versions. There's this version, then there's a more expensive, little bit bigger, little bit heavier version that has a battery built into it that will, once it's charged, will recharge your camera batteries. Now, of course, this is for Fuji, and this comes with two batteries. I ran a time test on it. These ran about 85% as long as a regular Fuji branded battery, which is what you can expect. And they fit right in here. And then it plugs in to a USB-C. And the reason I didn't buy the one with the battery plugged in is A, it was about 60% more cost. And I've got a USB-C port in my car. I've got one basically anywhere I want to go. I carry this little Anchor battery, heavy battery pack. I think it's 200 watts or something, and I can recharge. So anyhow, I bought this one, and this plugs right in here. Now, when it plugs in, there's a little indicator here. I don't know if you can see it, showing what the battery percentage is, and it's a cool little thing, man. It's it's just something to
It's
carry in
it's
your
a
car.
it's a charging case plus a storage case, a carry case.
Yeah, they thought about it. They
Um,
even have an SD card slot right here. So if you want
yeah.
to carry a spare SD card,
And the thing, I went out and looked at their website, and the thing, they make this for all the different camera manufacturers. So it's not just a Fuji thing, and it looks really cool. I kind of want one now.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
I have a little plastic container on the passenger seat of my car. I have little spots for this, that, this. So that's
for
going
all
to
your
be in there.
gizmos.
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I'm glad you
It's
got
about
one.
80. I paid about 80 or $90 for that. The
That's
reach,
two
only the
batteries
batteries
plus the
about
case.
150. Yeah. And you're going to buy two batteries, from Fujifilm, but they're probably $50 a piece.
Yeah.
If you buy them aftermarket from Small Rig or somebody else, they're probably $30. So, the cost of the batteries are half half the cost of that. So,
Yeah. So it's a fair price.
but,
Cool.
but
Yeah.
Llano,
Llano.
Llano,
Nice.
Hawaii, maybe.
Oh, yeah, maybe, or South American. Who knows?
Navajo.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Well, speaking of indigenous, we were up in the land of the Inuits, up in Katmai National Park. This was maybe our seventh bear
Yeah,
workshop I think we've done, Jack.
yeah, quite a few.
Yeah, yeah, we've done a few, and this is the second one that we've done in the fall. And in the fall, we, of course, the fish runs are a little different. The fish runs are great. They're a little different, but the beauty of fall is you get fall color. Absolutely. And we hit it right at the peak of fall color.
Correct.
So seeing these bears and using the foliage behind the bears as part of your composition really, really changed the kind of the dynamics of photography. So it was cold though. I mean, we were up there I think it was the first snows in the mountains. For those of you watching on YouTube, there's a photograph behind me that we took in that you see the first snows on the mountain. So when we landed at the various lakes each day, it was, 32, 33 degrees and it was a bit chilly. But I think we all had enough clothing and we all kind of got through it. And it was just sort of part of the adventure. So it's about the experience. Yes, we came back with great photographs, but we also came back with great memories. And Jack's looking at something real quick.
Well, I'm trying to bring these pictures up, and if I could read here, I could find them, but I guess I can't do that. But
Yeah.
I'll find them. John, just let me look. You go, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. So each day, for those that haven't heard about this workshop, each day we stayed in a lodge, and each morning we would load up into float planes and fly to the areas that the bears were at the most concentrated amounts. And as you know, the fish travel from the ocean up the rivers to spawn, and the bears follow the migration of the salmon. So we followed the migration of the bears. And so we would land in different areas. And at this time of year, the bears are further inland because the salmon's further inland. And so we would fly to a wilderness lake, land. Three of the days we hopped onto small rafts and floated short rivers and stopped wherever we wanted, wherever we saw bears, and stopped, photographed, got back in the rafts, just sort of wandered down the river and basically made the whole day of it. And then would fly back to the lodge at night for a wonderfully chef prepared meal, which was great.
And one thing I would add to that, John, is that we would have been floating for 4 days. We take one day and we try to get over to Brooks Falls every year, which we were good to last year and the year before. Um, but one day we couldn't. What happens, folks, is we land on one lake and we float the river and we end up in another lake where the airplane is waiting for us to take us back to the lodge. But the wind was such that they couldn't land on the other lake. So we ended up walking, and it wasn't a difficult walk. It was more than I expected, but it was on the tundra, and man, I will see some pictures here. We'll show you some pictures. It was amazing, it really was. And what I wanted to add is that anybody probably going to run this again in a year or two. I guess, John, we haven't really talked about it, but
Yeah.
I think I have one more in me. Uh, but our pilots are very, very safety conscious, and I'm just saying this because we work with these guys. I think they're actually regarded as the safest, or Jerry is one of the safest bush pilots in the world.
Hmm.
And when they can't do something, they don't take any chances. So we ended up walking one day, but it was very productive.
It was very productive. Definitely a workout walking on the tundra. But that was okay. We were, as some of the people, we would plop down when we saw a bear, we'd plop down and photograph them. And one of our folks was sitting there eating blueberries, low lying blueberries that's in the tundra, like the bears eat. He was sitting there and he'd eat a few blueberries, take a few pictures, and then eat some more blueberries. And it was just kind of part of that experience, which is great. Um, I wrote a story on my blog about target fixation, and what prompted that was an experience on this trip. Maybe I'll share that. It was we had three different boats, three different rafts, and over the course of the float, the rafts tend to separate, and each group sort of does their own thing. And in my raft, we looked down this side channel of the river and saw a white cub. And we had heard that there were three or four white cubs on this river, and we saw one down this side channel. So we parked the raft, and everybody got out, and we started walk. We needed to walk about 30 yards down the river, and my guide said, he said, stick to the right hand bank, and that way, Mom and the cubs can see you, and you won't startle them. So I was doing that, and the folks in the boat were behind me. And one of the things, Jack, I'm always very cautious and cognizant of, the banks of this river, but they're dominated by tall grasses and alder bushes. And about every 3 feet, there's an opening where the bears have come through, and they look down at the water to spy for salmon. And so every 3 feet, there's this opening, and every 3 feet, a bear could appear. And as we've seen numerous times, they just appear out of nowhere. But I was so fixated on this white cub walking down the river and sticking to the right bank. And then eventually I heard the guide say, John, John. And he had said my name several times, but I was so fixated on this cub um, that when I heard him, he said, John, move to your left. And I instinctively looked to my right, and I was 2 feet away from the bank. And I looked to my right and I looked up because the bank was 4 or 5 feet tall. And there, not more than 6 feet away, was this bear that had appeared out of the brush. And so I was about 8 feet away from this massive grizzly bear. Jack, I almost soiled myself. In your first instinct is to run, which is the worst thing you can do. And so I had to tamp that down and then eventually start to just slowly work my way to the left away from this bear.
You didn't get
But
the shot?
I no, but somebody did get a shot of the bear of that bear. They were behind me and they took a cell phone shot of the bear. But these things just appear out of nowhere, and then they can surprise you. But I was so fixated on my target that I put aside my inherent caution about staying too close to the banks because I wanted this photograph of the white cub.
Yeah.
That was my scary story from the trip.
Yeah. Well, you're here.
Yes, and the good thing is we're really not food. We're not known as a food source, so the bears don't look at us to eat us. They don't see us as a threat. So as long as we're both calm around each other, everything's good.
Yeah. Well, animals are smart. People wear camouflage thinking they're not going to be seen. The bears
Yeah.
smell them a mile away. 2 miles.
Oh yeah.
they want to get you, they'll get you. But you're correct. They're after fish, not humans.
Yeah. If you're polar bears, though, polar bears are the bears that see you as a food source, and so those ones really scare me.
Yeah.
But thankfully, we don't have a lot of those in Alaska.
Yeah. Well, we
So,
could talk, do you have some photographs too, John?
not particularly, no, Jack. I mean, I can pull some up. Yes, yes, for
Well,
sure.
let me we can go through this, John, and you can add to, because we were together for most of these. Um, we do have people who listen to this on and don't get to see what we're showing here, so we can verbalize. I think what I'm going to share the screen if that works for you.
You betcha. Let's go ahead and do that.
There, and we'll call up Lightroom. I had a why that's not coming up. We had a I had an experience. I went to transfer folks these pictures to a smaller size today, and I wasn't online, and Lightroom wouldn't let me transfer to a file if I'm not online, which is strange. This was at Brooks Falls. We get there every year. And this is where the bears go fishing on top of the waterfall, which they were there this year. There wasn't as many bears, and we didn't get to see them actually catch a fish from the waterfall, but we did get one. I did get one. I think Tony got one too. That was in the stream. I don't have the other photograph. I don't think here, but the bears this year at Brooks Falls, they just sat there looking at fish to the point that I managed to get like a 4 second exposure
Yeah,
of silky water. It was kind of bizarre, kind of amazing.
that is very, very bizarre.
So beside bears, we had loons, and this loon went flying by right below us at Brooks Falls. And here's another one. If you look, there's a little red blob up in the upper right-hand corner for people who are not able to see this. The salmon, you could see them right through the water, and it's just it was a lot of fish this year. But there are a lot of loons, which are really pretty ducks. So I mean, we all go for bears, but there's a lot of other things to do there.
There is a
Um,
lot of other stuff for sure. I shoot a lot of airplanes myself.
Yeah, well, so normally you get the fish jumping with the bear eating the fish. So for those of you that can't see this, it's a picture of the waterfall with just the fish and no bear. Um, I call this the missing bear, like the missing man formation. This is the missing
Hmm.
bear formation. But you know,
I think
this
that's a
was it.
wonderful photograph.
And then years ago when you took photographs of bears. Uh, Prior to high-speed digital cameras and film, if you just had the bear standing in the water, it was a great photograph. Now, everybody's looking for animation and the shake of the water coming around. It's really interesting. Another loon.
You went loony, Jack.
I was loony on. I'm always loony.
Yeah.
So, John was talking about the colorful tundra in the wild, and you know, I think one of the things that we were encouraging our people to do is to put the bear in the landscape and not just look for the trophy shot. And I processed this both ways, John. So that's with a little glamour glow, little Orton effect.
Hmm.
And what it does is it just adds a little more ethereal feeling to the image, I think.
Yeah, it
Doesn't
adds a
work on
glow.
everything, but it does. And again, this has a little bit of Orton effect to it.
Hmm.
This image is two bears in that two of the same bears as they got closer.
And
And then
then,
we had this guy. I think John, we were all together when this happened. This guy
yeah, Mongo.
walking right at us.
The thing that as I've described this trip to people, the thing that I've told them is going in September, the bears have had all summer to feed, and so they're all fat and they're all fluffy. When you go earlier, sometimes because they're just coming out of hibernation by maybe a month, and they're a little bit scrawny, but in September they're fat and fluffy.
We were there during that Fat Bear Week thing that
Yeah.
everybody was doing online. I have to tell you, I saw the bear picture that won that Fat Bear Week. We saw bears a lot fatter than that.
Huh.
really did. But
Yeah.
you got the wild, but then you have the trophy shot. To me, I mean, this is a nice shot, and everybody will go, "Oh," but to me, that this image here with the three bears in the tundra
In the context, yeah.
is to me a lot more pleasing. These are the two airplanes. So we fly in two de Havilland Beaver airplanes. Uh, but the outfitter has two of these and a couple of other planes. And this old bear was just sitting there um, in the lake. This was taken, I think, from the raft as we were coming back in one day, John.
I think we were walking along the beach, Jack, walking
Yeah,
back to
yeah.
the
No, you're
aircraft.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
You're right. And
Yep.
and he's got a fish in his mouth, and those airplanes are no more than 30 feet from the bear. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Then you got the trophy shots and the little guys. That's a kind of an image of the lake where we fly in and out of one of the lakes. And again, it was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful trip. A lot of stuff, a lot of cubs. Again, this image is more of a kind of an impressionistic, abstract image of the blue sky hitting the water and the reflection of the gold uh, alders and the bank of the rivers. And there's all sorts of things that we can do up there other than the classic
And then the classic
shots.
bears. Yeah, for sure.
Lots of bears. Anyhow,
Yeah.
all on
This time of year, you generally, so the fish are towards the end of their life cycle, so they're slow, and the bears really can just sort of reach down into the water sometimes and grab fish. There's a few that were jumping and running and lunging, and that was fantastic. But also, the bears are fat and starting to get lazy, and the fish are dying. So it's just sort of it's a mellower experience than anything else. I've got a few images for you to share, Jack,
please.
if you want. Let's go back to, again, just sort of a classic thing. I love the claws on the bears, but in this case, including the tundra, a little bit more of the tundra, and of course, always including the eyes of the animal and the positioning of feet and the positioning of head of their head was really important to me. Like this with the paw
Yep.
outstretched and the head down. It looks a little bit aggressive or mean. This is a male bear, a boar, and but he's within that red foliage around it, and that's why I included a shot like this. We did get a few action shots like this. Again, it's the claw, it's the water motion. It's more than just a bear. They have to be doing something or being expressive these days for it to be a decent shot. Of course, family, there were lots of sows and cubs, and so we had lots of chance for different sort of family interactions. And this little guy with his tongue sticking out was kind of special to me. There was one part, I think the second or the first day we were rafting where we followed this mom and her two cubs upriver, and we were able to get her nursing her cubs.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, which I don't often get a chance to see this, where mom is relaxed enough around us where she can nurse her cubs. And she had two cubs there nursing on her. So that's one shot. And then when they were done, they laid down for a nap.
Oh, you always when you show people
Oh,
pictures, always show this one last.
yes, yes. But I tell you, Jack, that little red bush, there's a red bush right in front of mom, this little red low foliage, that made the shot for
I
me.
don't know. The claws are pretty cool too.
The claws are pretty cool. So I was quite happy with that little encounter that we had with her.
And if folks that are watching this on YouTube notice the aperture that John used on this. The background is not important. It was there, and you could see the kind of. But if John shot this at f16, it would have taken away from the impact of the two animals.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I shot this at 7.1.
Yeah.
I think it's what it is. Yeah. But yeah, I did a lot of really more shallow depth of field this time up in Alaska, and I it really helped me isolate my subject better. So great point, Jack. Here's the white cub up the channel. And the thing that was really so we had most of the days were overcast, Jack, which gave us some really nice flat light to photograph the bears. We had one day of sunshine, which was really nice to feel as a human,
It made
but
that white cub beautiful.
it really, yeah, it did make the white cub beautiful, but
Made the water blue too.
all the other bears, it made difficult to shoot because of the high contrast nature of that.
I liked that it took that gray look of the water away and added the reflection of the blue
Added some
sky.
blue. Yeah, here's another version of that. Here we've got that blue and gold. You
Yep.
always teach everybody that we love blue and gold
Uh,
together, and
you know who taught me that was Guy Tal,
eh, yeah.
blue and gold.
So we've got gold in the
Two things,
background.
Guy. And we're gonna have Guy talk to Guy last week. We're gonna try to, folks, gonna try to get Guy on here pretty soon and get. But he always talks about blue and gold and the experience. So John and I were talking about AI and all of this. AI will never take away the experience, especially at a trip like this. This is
Oh
a
yeah,
once in a lifetime thing.
standing in knee-deep water with your camera, watching this bear walk across the water or walk across the river. Um, you can't replicate that
No,
in any other way. So the sun was kind of neat in a shot like this. So again, right, it's not just a bear standing. These two siblings are doing some play fighting, but it's the rim light for me around the edges of the outline of the bears, that rim light that was happening that really made this photograph
they went through
special.
this play experience. God, I probably for 20 minutes. In fact, I shot a video. I'll get John to put the YouTube URL up for everybody if they want to see it. You'll see at the end of it these bears actually in video playing like this. It's very
Yeah.
common.
And the cool thing, even though it's a harmless play fight, it's like just two brothers fighting. It portrays some really aggressive power that you can convey in your images.
Look at those teeth.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Then, just simple. And for me, it was the color of the bear and the color of the grass behind it, and his hands are up eating a fish. So shots like that I liked. Of course, the redfish in the bear's mouth, which is wonderful. This is probably my one of my favorite, except for the trees behind. This is a bear lunging off of a bank, and we waited probably 20-25 minutes for this to happen. I wanted this shot. I could see it looking at the fish in the water, and I knew it was going to happen. And so I made our boat stay there, and we all got a shot similar to this.
And you know what
Um,
makes that, John? What makes this shot is if you look at the back of the bear, look at how the direction of the tree, a little tree trunk there, it wraps itself around the back of the bear.
hadn't really noticed that, but you're right. Yeah, it's the curve of a tree trunk mimics the curve of the bear's back.
Yeah,
Yeah, but to me, it was the claws and the
claws. Yeah,
intensity. Yeah, it's shots like that are fantastic. I think Jack said, like just the salmon in the water.
exactly.
Right. I found myself just shooting the salmon. What's funny is this shot I didn't have a polarizer on, and so there's all this glare on the top of the water. But boy, you just
I think it's great.
crank that dehaze slider up, and you can make some things happen.
You see the rocks there too. Great.
Yeah, and then just lastly, the beaver airplane with the fall color behind it. I shot a lot of these aircraft because I like the old airplanes. So there you
Uh,
go.
John, I'm going to share the screen again, so I want everybody to see what John does in the spare time. Um,
Uh-oh, I'm
you
scared
saw that
about what this is
airplane
going
that
to be.
you saw that airplane that John just shot? Well, this is what John does in his spare time. I got to
Oh,
get Lightroom going here.
I think I know what Jack did. Jack found a toy. As much
There's it's
as
not a
yeah,
great shot, but there's what
see,
John does
I'm a
in
wing
his spare
walker.
time. It's amazing how he does that and doesn't even hold on to the
Nah,
airplane. So,
yeah,
anyway,
we're all good. That's
yeah.
funny. So yeah, Jack, it's really about the experience. I mean, what was some of your most fond memories of this
Well, you
trip?
know what? We had a great group,
Yeah,
and um, you know, again, we've seen I have more bear pictures than I'll ever do anything with. But the reason that I like to go there is it I love to see the looks on people's faces when they see this experience that we get to provide. And yeah, it's not a cheap trip. And in fact, what was funny is, John, I think you'll attest to this. When we first went up there, I mean, our prices almost doubled.
over the years, yeah,
And frankly, folks, John and I probably made more
and
money when the price was lower. It's not,
we make less money now on that as
yeah,
workshop leaders than we did.
and their costs have gone up. But I think what I love to bring people to see things that I've seen and let them experience it. And just just seeing, I mean, these people were in awe. We had repeats on this too.
Oh yeah, we had
And
some two timers and three
uh,
timers coming back.
it's just it's probably the most incredible experience of photographically that I've ever done. I mean, and I like to be able to provide that, just see the excitement in the people, and you know
Yeah, I mean, for me to be able to help provide what I call a bucket list experience. I mean, this is a once in a lifetime for many people to go see these bears in the wild and be, 15, 20 yards from them. It's such an incredible thing. And to be able to give people that opportunity and give them that gift is really, that's why I keep going back.
and yet we were out in the middle of nowhere, but uh everybody ate good. This food was first class. The lodging is great. Probably the best up there, I think.
Yeah.
And just being able to do that. I mean, yeah, I mean, we, this is what we do for a living and all of that, but um, it's more than that, and I don't know. I think for me, yeah, the Bears are great, the pictures are great, but um, when we were leaving, just to see the happiness on everybody, and that's for me what it's all about.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I would agree, Jack. I would agree. It's a very fulfilling trip to run, even though so much is beyond our control because we work with a third party to lodge us and fly us, and um,
And
but
weather,
knowing, but we've have this partnership with the best people in the business, so I don't have to worry too much about what they're doing.
right?
One last one, folks, if you're ever thinking about going up to Alaska, somebody told me a story on this trip that stuck with me. They had come up to Alaska before and done a bear experience uh, sort of trip, and they stayed at a different lodge. And what the lodge people did is they basically just said, "Go wander out front of the lodge and see if a bear comes by." And that was kind of their experience versus this type of experience, which is focused on taking you exactly where the bears are.
So we had 2 days, 2 days of certainly over 100 bears, or probably
Over
more
a
like
hundred.
100,
Yep.
130.
Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty incredible. I mean, I was hoping we would get there, but we reached the bear saturation point where when bears would poke out, like especially towards the end of the day, we were so oversaturated with bears that when bears would appear, people were like, "Yeah, that's just another bear." You know, unless they were doing something truly special. They were just like seagulls wandering around. We just didn't pay them much mind. So that told me that we were successful and we got saturated. So it was good.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Well, at any rate, folks, that's kind of just a summation of what we've been up to. Again, we're working on some future podcasts. I think you're going to really enjoy. Llano battery charger. If anybody's got anything that we can help you with, send us an email at wetalkphoto@gmail.com or to John and I.
Yeah.
And other than that, any old business?
No. Any new
Well,
business? Nope.
I'll be here in the color of the Smokies here for the next week and looking forward to that. So,
Yep. And then we'll see each other in person in Grand Teton National Park in the first week
yes,
of
I
December.
am driving, which
I'm looking forward to
interesting
that.
trip. So,
Yep. We'll have a great group. This is
and
one of my,
I think you've got a couple. We got a couple spots open for that too. I mean, we
yeah.
got a good group there, but we've got a couple spots open. It's on our websites. First week in December. Talk about wildlife,
Yeah, exactly.
different
And
kind of wildlife,
landscapes
but
and yeah,
it says
and
productive
great
as the
food.
bears.
Great food. I look forward to the bison chili every year.
It's a great way to end the year.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. All right, folks, thanks for listening and or watching. We hope you have a great day. Again, we talk photo at gmail.com. And with that, just wish you a happy day.
Talk to you soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye.